Welcome to the cat brushing channel. Dude, you're drooling all over my shirt. My shirt's starting to get wet. Yes, I am. I was beginning to wonder if anybody was going to be in here, or if this was just going to be a 2-hour video of me brushing Bite. It was almost 5 minutes before you spoke up. It's going to be a really boring video otherwise. Hello, Yvonne. All right, finally getting people popping in here. Starting to wonder there for a moment. Okay. I can't complain. I'm doing all right. Hello, Tracy. I'm not seeing any issues on my end. Everything seems to be 100% on my end. So I don't know. Anyone else seeing any problems? Yeah, more purple haze. That just worked out so well last time. I just want to probably do that from time. I'm not here, that's for sure. I don't think I've ever actually been here. This is just some AI thing, right? Light doesn't really exist either. That's right. You've been strung along for 6 years by some AI scheme. That's my finger, right? It may smell like kitty treats just because I had kitty treats in my hand, but that doesn't make it a kitty treat. That still makes it my finger. That's just the rules. You're not supposed to bite the hand that feeds you. You're also supposed to hold it in your mouth and not drop it. We've been having really extreme weather here too. Holy cow, it's been supposed to be 106 today. And that's really what it's like for the next 2 weeks. We don't see any break in sight. It's been this way for like 3 weeks already. And there's no end in sight. They were talking about maybe some spotty rain late in the afternoon, but they're saying mostly east of the 35, and I'm west of the 35, so I don't know. I don't even like going out for my little walks at night lately because it's just too hot out there. It's insanely hot. Even at night, it's like 97. There's some of the cat fur off the sofa here. That's the main reason I keep the tie-dye sheet on the sofa is so that I can easily shake it out and not get cat fur all over the place. I'm really glad I got my air conditioning. I'll tell you, this place would be. I don't know how they survived Texas back in the day with no AC. Yeah, it's on day and night here too. And then it's weird. It just when it changes, it changes from hot every day to cold every day, like in a week or two. It's really weird. I'll go from having to use the AC to keep it cool to having to turn on the heat to keep it warm. Gotta love the weather in Texas. Yeah, it's a little bit humid, but it's it's mostly the heat. Well, that's one of the great things about Texas. We have a deregulated electric industry. I can buy my electricity from any one of a dozen companies, and they got just month to month kind of things. They got things where they kind of look at your energy usage over time and kind of give you an average each month, so that when it gets really hot in the summer, you're not paying sky high prices. When it gets cold in the winter, you're not doing that either. Where it just kind of evens out, so you know kind of month to month what it's going to be. So that's cool. Hey Eric, how's it going, buddy? I'll tell you though, the thing that made my electric bill go down significantly was getting rid of the pool. I had no idea how much electricity was chewed up just keeping that motor running, that pump going. My electric bill dropped like in half. So I mean, that's another advantage to getting rid of the pool. And the truth is, it's been a couple of years now since I got rid of the pool, and there hasn't been a single time I've said, "Wow, I really wish I could get into the pool right now." So I think I made the right decision. 'That's cool, Eric. I'm cool. I'm glad you're getting all sorts of kind of fun stuff like that. Starting off early, getting your resume together, so that when the time comes, you're gonna be packed for bear. Congratulations. That's awesome. 30 bucks an hour. That's good money. You still doing that Amazon thing? Like their robot wrangler, whatever it was? Rhonda popped up on Facebook a couple of weeks ago. Said that she just got some like personal issues she's got to deal with that are taking all her time. But she said she'll be back at some point. So she says hi to everyone, and like I said, she'll be back at some point. I guess that's what I know. I miss her too because she carries like 90% of the conversation here. I almost don't need to be here when she's here. Yeah, I picked up a couple things. Lately, I've been making payments on this beautiful piece of grape agate that's like this big. It's the first rock I've ever had where I had to make payments on it, and so I've been not buying anything really spectacular lately. And honestly, some of the things I've been bringing home have been things that Kara just gave me because she felt sorry for the fact I was giving her money and not taking anything home. So I did pick up a couple things. This is something I've wanted a piece of for a while. This is called wolfenite. It's kind of those little brown orange crystals like that one right there. That's called wolfenite. There's a bunch of that on there. Some of them grow kind of big. This one's just kind of small, so this one wasn't a terribly expensive piece because, like I said, I'm kind of putting my money on other things. Um, I've already got a piece of obsidian, but she had a nice big black piece of obsidian that I thought looked really cool. Uh, so I picked that one up. That one wasn't horribly expensive either. And I love obsidian. Obsidian's really cool. Basically, this is a black volcanic glass. It basically happens when you have like lava, like from Mount Kilauea in Hawaii, that cools off really really quickly. It cools off and remains in kind of this liquid state. It turns into this glass. So this is probably like lava that poured out of a volcano and then flowed right into the ocean and cooled off really quick, rather than cooling off slowly, where the CO2 trapped inside expands and creates all those little air cavities that you usually think of with lava. None of that, where the CO2 trapped inside expands and creates all those little air cavities that you usually think of with lava. None of that on this. Like I said, this is really smooth. So that's really cool. And then these are just a couple little things. I think I mentioned a week or two ago on the live stream that Kara was doing this thing where if kids bring in their report cards, she'll give them like a little nugget or something like this. And so she's got boxes and boxes of just little nugget things that she's giving away. And this is one of those. And I like this one because this, once again, does something really cool under a black light. And so, she knows I'm really into that. So she'll say, "Yeah, we're gonna run your black light over this flat and see what you see." And I commented on that one, how that was kind of cool. It's almost kind of crystalline too. It's cloudy, but you can actually see light through it. So I think it's I don't know I don't know exactly what it is. It does it. So I think it's I don't know I don't know exactly what it is. It doesn't look like quartz. I asked Google a lens what it was, and they called it a double terminated quartz, but I don't think that's what it is. It's something else because the angles are all wrong for quartz. But it's cool anyway. And I have a lot of azurite. That's kind of this mineral I have that's really blue. And she gave me this one actually. This was another one of those things in her little flat, all those little things called blueberry azurite. And I thought it was kind of cool. And hey, it was worth what I paid for it, right? So that's kind of fun. But we're saving up for that big piece of grape agate, and hopefully I'll have that in another month and a half or so. That one's going to be really cool. Every time I go in there, I get visitation rights on it. She has it hidden in the office, and she says, "Yeah, you want to visit?" So yeah, me and my rocks, my purple haze. Yeah, I can't wait to have it in my own collection here. Like I said, there was one grape agate that she had there that I was already really interested in, and then she pulled this one out and was like, "Oh man, I want them both." I got a piece of grape agate, but it isn't as amazing as this one is. So, I do that sometimes. I end up with multiple copies, multiple examples of the same specimen, of the same mineral. But yeah, that one's like this big. It's huge. Be one of the largest things I own. One of. It's reasonably heavy. I don't know. I've got things that are heavier. It's just especially beautiful, especially under the sunlight. It sparkles like you can't believe. I got a couple of them that look like a shark when you come to think of it. I can see this one. Dun, 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 dun. Or that one even. Yeah, never mind. Sorry, it's just me being weird. Yeah, the black one is obsidian. Like I said, I love obsidian. I've got several pieces of it. In fact, at the Rock and Mineral Show, I bought something a little out of normal for me. It was a handmade dagger made out of blue obsidian and a antler from a deer. That's pretty cool. Let me show you that. I've shown you that in the past, but that's really cool. Hang on, let me go get that. Okay, back into broadcast position here. Yeah, this is that piece of blue obsidian. Look at how clear that is. You can see the light through that. And then that's like an antler from a reindeer or something like that. It's kind of just all kind of lashed together. I don't know. I thought that looked really cool. I normally not into cutlery and stuff like that, but that was just too wicked cool to say no to. It's nice to have a little bit of expendable income to pursue your hobbies. It's funny, you can see how the direction of the smoke moves when the air conditioning comes on. For a while there, it was going straight up, but the AC is on right now. All of a sudden, it's kind of blowing inside there. Air currents are funny things. Yes, I'll be doing the silo again this year. Haven't discussed yet my role. It turns out on the 24th of September, he's having uh, a social media influencer day. So he's invited me to be a part of that. So apparently this time, it's kind of be it's kind of be a limited event with, I guess, limited number of like social media people coming in doing their thing. And the premise is you can basically go and film just about anything. So I'm going to be able to take you through all the mazes and and show you some of the really cool stuff that's been there, and give you some of the little maybe behind the scene things that I might know that might not be known by the general public. That one's going to be really fun because I'll take you through all the mazes that I've been through. I've been able to show you a few things, because I've done some like commercials and stuff like that for John, but it'll be this will be a little bit more freeform and what I want you to see. So that'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that one. But yeah, I'm only going to probably be able to do the first couple weeks of it because that's just what work means now these days. I can't. I could do it working at the company because I was always off of work at 7:30 when the shift was over, and I could quickly drive over to Temple and get ready by 8 o'clock. But I rarely walk out the door at 7:30 anymore. So I can't predict I can be there. So all I can do is do it when we're having the um, maintenance intervals at work. And it turns out that that's always like last week of September, first week of October. So I embrace my weirdness. I don't want to be normal. Heck with that. Geez, and I didn't think I was making a Jaws reference. I thought I was making a reference to the beginning of Airplane, where you just see the tail of the airplane going across the top of the clouds, and they're playing the Jaws theme, and then all of a sudden the airplane jumps out at you like that. Good morning, Gene. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. It still looks good. Like I said, getting rid of that box, getting rid of all those cables and stuff like that, it just looks so much more professional out there. I'm really happy with the results. Tape lights were up there. Uh, so it was a good thing. Even if I didn't do any painting up there, they needed to be cleaned. They were filthy. I would bet you half the light was being blocked by the dirt on those. I might just get out there and do that from time to time. It's so much easier to turn the lights on and off now too, because it was really kind of hard to get at. It's just right in a very convenient place. I can just hold the remote right up to the eye there, and it works. So that's good. Even under lit conditions, it works really well. So that's good. I had lights like that on my house under the eaves at my house in California too, and they were really cool. I turned those on for Christmas too, and they looked just fantastic. I had three of them up there, so and it turns out when I bought those lights, I bought four of them and only used three, so I ended up bringing one to Texas with me, and that's the one that ended up on the porch. And it's perfect too because I could do different colors and stuff like that. So I could light the porch up green for St. Patrick's Day or whatever. I got those at Costco. Those were actually some of the first tape lights I ever saw. They're all over the place now. You can get them all over the place, but those are like the first ones, and I really like those, and they're really cool. And I like the tape lights anyway. I use them all over the place here too. I have them under one of the kitchen counters in the kitchen. I have them lighting up all my mineral display cases. Of course, I got the string of lights that goes over the arch there. Got them out on the porch. So yeah, they're cool. I like them a lot. They were just at Costco one day. Now I'm kind of moving on with something else that I've been seeing over at the light section in Home Depot. They got something called Hub Space, which is basically it's an app you can put on your phone, and you can control your lights uh, from your phone, which is really fun. And so I got a couple of those around the house. I haven't really played around with that a lot, but I want to get to the point at some point where a lot of the stuff, when I get the backyard built up, uh, has all this house-based stuff, so I can turn it on myself, with my phone, or change it if I'm in the mood for something different. Well, the lights every one of the tape lights I have comes with a remote, but like I said, I was talking about. Let me show you here. I'll give you an example here of this. I don't have my phone here, so I got to get my phone. Hang on. Let's see here. Hold on. Oh man. You gotta sign into this thing now. They can't just allow me to do it. Okay. So you remember that infinity mirror that I made? It's right there. I can turn that on with this. See, I just turned that on. I can do different colors. So let's make it turn blue. So there's blue and red, green. Or I can set up different themes for like holidays and stuff like this. Let's see if I can find that section here. Get all the ads out of the way. Let's see, is that it? Presets, yeah. So they got presets. That one's called Christmas. I don't know. I got to turn up maybe the volume a little bit. Let's see. It's the brightness at 100%. It just doesn't seem like it's on very bright. Okay. Well, I guess that's what it does. But they get different categories. That one's called mistletoe. Penguin disco. I don't know. We'll leave penguin disco on for a while. But that's kind of fun. Yeah, I want to go see what's out there for Halloween this year. Get some good stuff. I think our local Spirit Halloween is about to open up. I found out where it was last weekend, and they had a whole bunch of pods outside the store. And so they looked like they were getting ready to kind of load everything in. So it probably won't be long before they start opening up. Maybe go over there, get a temporary job. I would get a kick out of just putting some of that stuff together. Trade them for inventory. Yeah, I got a few new rocks. As you know, I've been kind of making payments on a rock on a piece of grape agate from Kara for the last few weeks, and I got a few more payments to make on it before that one's mine. But Kara feels really embarrassed for me when I come in there and give her money and don't get to walk out with any rocks. So I've been getting just some little inexpensive things. I love obsidian, and so I got this. She had this really cool piece of obsidian. That's basically black volcanic glass. So that's really cool. I like obsidian, and that was a nice one. And I got this piece of wolfenite, which is kind of cool. The wolfenite is kind of these little kind of brown crystals that you see right here. It's not a spectacular example, but it's a good one. And then she gave me just a couple things for free. That thing is just a little piece of matrix, and it's got these little blue azurite crystals in it. And they call this blueberry azurite because I guess it looks like little balls of blueberries. I guess I could see that. Looks a little like a freeze-dried blueberry, right? A freeze-dried blueberry, right? And then I got this funny little crystal here. Not really sure what it is, but it's cool under a black light. So yeah, there's the angle for looking at that here. See how it kind of glows blue in the middle there? That's really cool. I love my UV stuff. You know that. Good seeing you, Tracy. Tracy, thanks for stopping in. I just try and call you Tracy. Look at that sunset on the monitor there on Maps video. That's pretty. The one video that I was working on is kind of got put on the back burner right now. We're in the process of getting some new hardware associated with that, and it didn't really make any sense to do any training on it before we got the new hardware and got to actually work with a real thing. So that's on the back burner for a while, but we're going to start something else up pretty quick. I want to talk to the boss about it, figure out how we're going. I want to talk to the boss about it, figure out how we're going to make that happen. I got like half a dozen ideas of things we can do. I saw he posted a couple of videos afterwards. So he seems to have survived it. He was on kind of the trailing edge of the island. It kind of made landfall. Actually, it never actually did make landfall. It just there was a lot of rain and wind associated with it. But the most dangerous thing during a hurricane is the storm surge, and he's way the heck up the mountain. So it's probably just some wind and rain. But I saw a couple of Facebook posts he made after that. It'll be interesting to see if he has any new videos of it. Let's go see what's going on here. I'm kind of looking at it. I don't know how much in advance he shoots his videos. I don't see anything in the recent videos talking about the hurricane. So, this might be stuff that he shot before before the hurricane came through. Like I said, I'd be interested in seeing some of the aftermath, or even some of the video when it was happening. I know if a hurricane blew through here, I'd be out covering it. Yeah, he's like 1,000 feet up the side of Kilauea, maybe more. Little on the side of the tallest mountain on the planet. It's like 5 miles to the top of that one, top of that island. 25,000 feet or something like that. How high above sea level is Mount Kilauea? Okay, 4,000 feet. That's still pretty high up. That's like 4 miles up. You're getting up to the point there where you're almost needing oxygen. It's like going up Everest. Because I'm weird, Gene. That's why. I mean, you remember that time where we had a tornado warning and the sirens were going off, and I was in the backyard live streaming it. Yeah, that's just who I am. That's your humble host. I've always thought it'd be fun to go traveling with some of those storm chaser guys. Now, I think just about everyone here is a weird one. That's what kind of brings us all together, I think. Not just weird, I'm odd as a cod. That Eclipse video, I'm proud of that one too. Both the live stream and the actual video. That's the only time I've ever done a live stream and a real video at the same time. You have to sit and watch me shoot it from the other end. But yeah, that was amazing. One of the great thrills of my life is seeing that total eclipse. We got a lunar eclipse coming up in a couple weeks too. That'll be kind of fun. Yeah, yeah, for posterity, exactly. I mean, there's a bunch of things I've gotten to do with this vlog that I'm really fun. I'm really glad that I got video of it. When I went to Huntsville, Texas, got to see all those bats flying out of that building. That was amazing, and that was the whole thing too. I started rolling the camera right when the bats started coming, and I didn't stop until until they stopped. So that's just one long unedited chunk of video. That was a thrill to see that. Well, why are we excluded? I'm the weirdest person here, I'm sure. Hey, Spaniel Mom, long time no see. That's weird. Yeah, you never know what kind of weirdos are out there. That's sort of why I don't tell everyone where I live or where I work. We're in good company, Yvonne. Yeah, I guess I got to go back a little further back because other people have seen this before because they've been here. They were here like last week or the week before. But there's this piece that I'm making payments on Facebook. Let me show you this thing here. You know, this is the first time I've ever actually made payments on a rock. Let's see, where is it? That one. Okay, let's cut away. I want to show you this thing. This thing's amazing. So this is something that I'm kind of saving up for right now. Let's see, can I zoom in on that? I guess not. But look at that thing. That thing's like 18 inches across, and it's called a blue agate, and there's like millions and millions of little tiny little clear crystals in there that just sparkle in the sunlight. And that one is a little bit more than halfway mine now. So I got a couple more payments to make on it, and then that baby's coming home with me. So I've been kind of going over there and making payments, and Kara gets a little upset that I'm paying money and not getting anything. So she's been kind of giving me some stuff, and I've been getting just kind of little things too. This was a cool piece of obsidian that I saw that I really liked. I love obsidian. That's basically it's volcanic black glass, and I thought that was a cool one. And this thing here is called wolfenite, and they're kind of these little orange crystals that you see here. That's the wolfenite. Not a spectacular example of it, but it's still pretty cool. And then, of course, Kara, like I said, is concerned that I'm walking out without rocks. So she gave me that. That's called, she says she calls that blueberry azurite. I've got some azurite and it's really cool, but I've never seen anything quite like that. So, like I said, it looks like little freeze dried straw blueberries in there. So I understand that's why they call that that. And that was kind of a fun little piece. And I got this little unidentified thing. I'm not exactly sure what this is. Uh, I asked Google Lens what it is, and they called it a double terminated quartz cluster, but I don't think that's what it is. First off, quartz doesn't glow in a black light like this does, so I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's cool. And I was free, so I don't know how I would insure it. I'd have to figure that out. No, it isn't insured. But I think it would be very, very difficult to steal something like that. First off, you'd spend so much time unloading it, getting it out of the house. You know, it's not like you can just, it's not like a TV or something you can just pick up and walk out with. Yeah, hard to say how people get numbers though, because you know, it might be some company that you did business with that insisted on a telephone number to do business with you, and then they sold the list to someone else. You never know. That's why I tend to kind of avoid companies that insist on that. And in the case of if they require an email account, I have a burner email account where, if somebody needs an email account, okay, here it is. Here's my burner account. I'm very, very obvious too about what it is, that it's a burner account. Well, I read about it one recently where, and I saw the surveillance video. Some kid tried to break into an ATM with like a big, thick metal steel bar. I got like a digger bar that I used to chop big, thick metal steel bar. I got like a digger bar that I used to chop up the limestone deep down underground. And this guy used something like that to try and pry open an ATM. Well, apparently the bus bar, the bar that he tried to jam into the thing, hit the power supply and he ended up electrocuting himself. And his family tried to sue the bank, and the judge came back and said, "No, you don't get to sue him. He was breaking a crime. He was breaking the law at the time, and in fact, the family is liable to replace the ATM." I'm surprised what some of these online brokers have of me. I haven't seen anybody that has my current address, but I've seen people that, I've seen these broker sites that have like, they can tell me what my address was in California, that know what the address of the apartment that I lived in when I moved here in Texas. So yeah, I don't know how they can get away with that, because I mean, I guess it's just because it's happening overseas and stuff like that, and we can't necessarily do much about it. But I mean, you remember that Rebecca Schaefer case? Jordan did a vlog on that way back. She was an actress who, I guess, some stalker got her address from the DMV, went to her house and murdered her. And it's surprising that stuff like that is allowed to happen. I guess there were reforms made to the DMV after that to prevent that from happening. But you know, anybody can find just about anything on anybody online these days. I think I saw that story too, Spaniel Mom. Did he actually ever steal your girl? That is really the great thing about criminals, though. So many of them get caught just because they're stupid. Yeah, let's leave the bumper. Nobody ever figured out who it belongs to. Too old for this. Yeah, like I said, I think the DMV changed their policy after that. I mean, I was surprised it would take them something like that happening to actually have that policy in the first place, or to make this. Let's just move that over here. Like I said, that's part of the reason I don't advertise exactly where I live. And I'm glad Jordan became more tight-lipped about where he lived too, because in his early videos, I've often said uh, in the first 50 videos or so, if you really watched the videos, paid attention to what was going on, 50 or 100 videos or so, if you really watched what was going on, you could figure exactly where he lived, what building he lived in, what floor he was on, and probably within 1 or 2 units. So once he moved out of that first place, it was across the street from the Scientology place, and then moved to that other place, and then finally left California. He became a little bit more cautious about that, and I think that was a good thing. And any weirdos out there decide they want to track me down and kind of stalk me and do something weird, keep in mind we got guns here. This is Texas. Well, Adam was a very popular person. He had a lot of viewers, a lot of fans. So it doesn't surprise me. In fact, it's going to suck for whoever lives in that place after that because they'll always have to put up with that. But yeah, I mean that's that happens with celebrities, especially if they die someplace. Oh, is that who it is? Okay. Yeah, I didn't. So that's gotta be a little creepy too. You get some weirdo coming after the sister of Adam. Yeah, but I've never seen anyone, no matter how bad they are, be able to hold up to a 12 gauge shotgun firing double aught buckshot. That's a real attitude adjuster. Well, I have all sorts of interesting weapons around here too, kind of hidden around the house. We were showing this thing here a little earlier. This is just part of my rock collection. It's an obsidian dagger, but it would be a very effective weapon if I needed it. I have been thinking about putting cameras on the house, really low key, so they're not obviously there. Well, put one on the porch, aiming right down the porch with good infrared. I don't know. That'll probably be a video at some point that I'll do, putting security on this place. Yeah, there's not much you can do about somebody who's having a mental health crisis. So I don't know how to attract geese to my house. So I've got experience with Canadian geese. when I worked at Disneyland, there were a lot of birds that lived around the rivers of America. And one of the years I was working Phantasmic, uh, a set of baby Canadian geese, three of them actually, had been born, and they kind of became the mascots because they were used to us and pretty tame, so they'd eat right out of our hands, and it was kind of fun. I don't know. Do I get pictures of them? Let me see if I got pictures of the geese here. I will have to see. I may actually have that. Let's see here. Not in that section. I would assume that I would have had it here somewhere. Too far here. I don't know. I'll only look for a minute here. Oh, there, that's got to be them. Yeah, that's a good picture. Let's see then. Okay. There we go. There's a picture of them. Hang on, we called them the honkers. So yeah, those are the geese that we used to have at Disneyland. I don't know if they're still there, but they knew us pretty well. They were pretty tame, and they'd come right up to us and eat out of our hands. There's a friend of mine feeding them, another friend feeding them. There were actually three of them at the beginning. One of them got accidentally killed, which was sad, but yeah, anyway. But yeah, they can be pretty aggressive. I remember also when I used to take Jaw for his walks, one of the places we'd go, there was a lake, and there'd be a bunch of geese there, and they'd always hiss at us when we'd walk by. Jaw never wanted to chase them. He liked the ducks though. No, I'm actually burning incense in the background there. I just discovered last week when I was um, when it was a last minute thing. I'd gotten these really cool UV spotlights. Kara had one of them in the store, and I said, you know what, those would be great for Halloween. So I figured out what they were, and I got a couple myself. And like a couple minutes before the live stream last week, I said, I bet you if I hid one of those lights behind the DVD shelf there, and just had it shining on the smoke coming up from it, I thought it would look really cool. And it actually did. It looked awesome. And so I did it again this week. Let's see if we can. See if you can see the light. Yeah, you can see the light there kind of shining at it there. But it created a really cool effect. In fact, when I went into Gallery 11 last week, I told her about how I'd done that, how awesome that was, and she said she might try that too. No doobies. I wait until afterwards for the doobies. Oh, I would bet those geese at Disneyland weighed more than 2 to 3 pounds. Oh, 25. Okay. I'm sorry. I misread that. Yeah, 25 pounds. I agree with that. Of course, I don't know. I don't think I'd be panicked because, it's a goose. They have no teeth. And basically, a 25-pound goose makes a great football. Get too honky with me here, and I'll show you my foot here. They can bite, but yeah, they don't have any teeth. It's just a. I don't know, when is Labor Day coming up? Labor Day is next month, isn't it? Oh, it's only a couple of weeks away, isn't it? The 7th of September. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Yeah, too many weirdos out there. That's an unfortunate truth. Got all the rest of the kitty treats out of this jar. We're gonna have to buy some more. So I'm just kind of throwing them on the floor over there. So next time Bite comes out, he gets a little treat. Never know what's gonna set people off. See, we don't have a lot of craziness like that here in Waco. That's one of the reasons I like it so much. You know, there's certain areas where that's just way more common, way more likely. People here tend to respect each other. It's that small town mentality. It really is, Yvonne. And I don't see it getting better anytime soon. That's a good way of putting it, Gene. Like I said, we don't have a whole lot of that happening here in Waco. You do hear about the occasional murder and stuff like that. I'll tell you, I've never really ever felt unsafe in Waco. And I've driven through some pretty seedy parts of town. In fact, that place I lived when I before I moved into the house was kind of a seedy part of town. All sorts of crazy things happened while I was there. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do Ring or some other one of the other companies. I'd like to find something that's maybe not like some network that you got to pay subscription to. You know, just something that would hook up to a server in the house. I don't know. It's getting harder to do that though. Everything's network connected now. Hey, Deborah. Yeah, we're just talking about, we're doing what we always do, talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. I don't go into these saying today, I'm going to talk about this subject or that subject. Bronson had his moments, didn't he? Wasn't it Death Wish? Wasn't that his big series? Oh, I'm just running. I just got some incense burning behind me, but I've got a black light shining on it that makes it glow purple like that. I I just kind of came up with the idea at the last minute before the live stream last week, and it worked so well that I did it again. I haven't decided what's for dinner yet. I ended up with two big dishes of the gumbo, the seafood gumbo, and I put one in the freezer, but and I've eaten the other one. So I don't know. We'll figure out something. Pull something out of deep freeze, maybe steak, pork chop. I don't know. Might have to go to the grocery store today too. I'm almost out of milk. It looks amazing on camera. It isn't. It isn't as impressive in real life, but it does look great on camera. In fact, when I was using this burner, you know, I have two, I'll have two sticks in there, and they'll just be this vapor cloud coming out of the top. It looks fantastic. Yeah, I like the Death Wish series. Honestly, I don't have any of them on DVD though. I don't think I have anything but Bronson. But he was a great kind of action hero. Pacific Coast Taco? No, I don't think so. I don't think I've ever heard of that. Besides, it wouldn't be a Toast or a Pacific Coast taco if it was in Waco. It would be a Waco taco, right? At least it seems so. Or maybe Gulf Coast taco, huh? What is it? Kind of a fast food place, or is it a sit down place? I've never actually heard of it. Yeah, it seems big around Houston. Looks like there's a couple of them there, but no, I don't see any of them here in the Waco area. Looks like there's about three of them in Houston. Never heard of them though. Oh, Bite was here a little bit earlier today. He's gone back to his room. Thank you, Gene. Yeah, I came out. I'm really happy with it. It looks great. It looks way neater than that big bundle of wires that was there. I don't know. Restaurant vlogs are one of those things that can just kind of pop up, uh, at the last minute and say, I'm in the mood. I want to do a vlog. I want to eat. Let's do a restaurant vlog. So that can happen. Yeah, it was a good idea to use the semi-gloss because it was just kind of a flat paint. And I think what you end up with is more of a glassy coat if you use the semi-gloss. And I think that's going to help ultimately with those mud dauber nests because I don't think they'll stick as well to the glossy coat that they as they did to the flat coat. Because even after I pressure washed some of that, it didn't all come off. It was really difficult to get that off, get that all off. And I think I'm just gonna have to stay on top of it and keep the spiders out of there, because apparently, They say the mud dauber wasps, they look for areas like that where there's a lot of spiders. Because apparently what they do is that little nest that they build, that's where they lay their egg. And they'll like paralyze a spider, put the spider in there with the egg, and then as the larva grows, the larva will feed on on the live spider. So I think if I keep the spiders under control under there, get rid of all the webs and stuff like that from time to time. I think that should keep that more under control. And like you say, definitely easier to clean. It looks really good. I'm really pleased with the results. It'll look great for Halloween and Christmas too. I can only imagine how that place is going to light up for Christmas now. They're kind of interesting looking insects. That's what they look like. And then they build those nests that are kind of a pain because, like I said, they stain the wood. This is my Reanimator shirt from the movie called Reanimator. It's a great one. And it's the old tagline for the movie. Herbert West has a good head on his shoulders and another one on his desk. One of my favorite horror movies, definitely. That's why I think hopefully the semi-gloss paint will make that cleanup easier. I didn't want to go over the board with the gloss. I do high gloss in the house. That's fine, but outside, it doesn't really work that well. But it will make the light shine a little bit more because there'll be more reflectivity off of it, and so that's a good thing. Yeah, well, I think a lot of times people use like the high gloss for like bathrooms and stuff like that. And I mean, I use the high gloss on the ceiling too, and then just kind of semi on the walls. Yeah, the satin I think is a little too low gloss for me. Like I said, inside I use mostly semi, and then like I said, on the roof I use high gloss. It seems to work for me. It looks really good. All right, good seeing you again, James. The flapper, I mean the lever itself you pull to flush, because that's actually really easy. I actually did a vlog on that, 6 or 8 months ago, if that's what it is. Now, if it's a little plug in the bottom that plugs up the bottom of the bowl, and that's or then of the tank, then that's another thing. But the little plastic handle on mine broke on the inside, and so it didn't work anymore. So for a while there, I just had a piece of string, and I just pull on the string, and that was how I'd flush. Okay, the plug. So yeah, I mean, it just I've never done one of those, but it doesn't look like it. You ought to just be able to buy the new piece. I bet you it wouldn't cost much. Should just be a matter of draining the tank, getting that new piece put in there. I don't know. It depends on kind of how what kind of a technical mind you have. How easy it would be to do that. But you ought to be able to buy a replacement piece. Yeah, okay. If you can replace a whole toilet, then replacing the little plug at the bottom shouldn't be terribly difficult. Just kind of look at how the old one's connected in there, get a new one, and get it installed. Hook up the chain. What you want to do is you want to make sure that there's no slack in the chain, so that when the plug is down, uh, and the flusher, when the flush handle isn't being pressed, that the chain is taut, because you don't want to pull the handle and have to move the handle an inch before it unplugs. It's long enough so the plug plugs up, but not so there's any slack on it. What I do is I take the old one out and bring it with you. Do a side by side comparison when you get the thing. Never hurts to ask somebody in the plumbing department too. Hey, uh, I need to replace this. Make sure this is the right thing. I don't know. That might be one of those things where they are universal. Yeah, that's a good idea too, Yvonne. Just take a picture. And just about any hardware store will be able to help you with that. Never know what direction we're going to go on a live stream here. Yeah, let's talk about toilets. I've never done it before either, Gene, but I don't think it should be terribly difficult. If you get just a moderate amount of technical savvy, you'll do fine. Like I said, don't be afraid to take the old one with you. Take it to the hardware store. Make sure you get the right thing. This is true, Yvonne. It is. DIY is really empowering. Now it's different than DEI. And DEI doesn't save you a lot of money. It costs you a lot of money. Yeah, well, you got to remember a lot of times these people that get jobs in places like that, you get some people that get a job like at a hardware store it's because they love hardware and they love talking about, projects. There's other people that are just doing it for a job. And yeah, if they don't know what a caster is, then find somebody else. Usually it's around this in the same areas like screws and nuts and bolts and nails and stuff like that. Usually within like one row of that. We find that in the place I work too. In fact, lately my boss has been hiring older people because older people seem to have a little bit more of a work ethic. We're getting these kids in here and they've never had a job before and they don't know what to do. Yeah, Ace is a good place. I like Ace Hardware. So it's a little bit on the small side, but you get some fun stuff in them in there. It's fun to just kind of walk around and look. Oh, and they go into this thinking they know everything too, Gene. They don't. They don't know anything. that can sometimes be a problem at Home Depot. Fortunately, I'm somebody that generally wants to be left alone. And when I'm in Home Depot, it's very rare that I come in and I need help on something. And so I kind of like Home Depot because I can just be left alone. And usually I can find somebody, if I do need help. There are times when I need some advice or something like that. Yeah, I've never really done the how-to book thing, but I just kind of figure things out. Yeah, Ace Hardware Stores is pretty cool. It's kind of has that feel of that old style, that old fashioned hardware store you went in there where, some guy behind the counter, some 900-year-old person behind the counter with his dog, and all the locals coming in, hanging out and talking and stuff like that. Well, I bought a leaf catcher for my lawnmower a number of years ago, or like something that bag that it blows the stuff into, and the instructions that came with it were very unclear. But I found something online that showed me exactly how to do it. So yeah, the internet is great for that kind of stuff. You just got to go to like reliable sources. So anyway, I think I put in my 2 hours here, so we're going to pull the plug on this one, get going with the rest of my day. We'll pick this up again next week. Thanks a lot, everyone. I had a good time. See you next week. Good night.